Welcome back to the Doghouse. We've got a big week coming up at Grant. It's Test Your Best Week. In this episode, we're sitting down with Dr. Noisey and Mrs. Lukemeyer to dive into everything you need to know about the ACT. We'll break down why the ACT matters, how you can prepare, and what strategies can help you succeed on test day. Plus, we'll talk about the fun side of Test Your Best Week, spirit days, encouragement from your classmates, and how to put your best foot forward when it counts. So get ready to feel motivated and confident as we tackle the ACT together. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the Doghouse podcast. We are here with...
Hi, I'm Dr. Stacy Noisey.
And today we're going to talk about the ACT. So, why switch from the SAT to the ACT?
Well, that was a state decision for school day testing. So the state every 6 or 7 years asks for a new bid to find out which company can provide the services that we need for the least amount to fit the state budget and still actually meet the needs that colleges have and students need. So this year ACT, or I suppose last year, ACT won the bid by having the lowest bid, and so the state chose them.
Gotcha.
Okay, so what's the difference between the SAT and the ACT, like regarding the structure, content, and scoring?
Sure. So the ACT is a little bit shorter than the SAT is. The SAT had just undergone some revisions. So last year was the first year that the SAT was different in regards to the reading passages. So the SAT had a short reading passage that was just like 3 to 5 sentences, and then a question about that particular passage, and then it just repeated. So ACT is a little different in structure in the reading passages because it gives you a longer reading passage, and then it asks you like 10 questions about that reading passage. So you have to keep going back to that particular piece of text. In math, the biggest difference between the two tests is that SAT provided you with a reference sheet for equations and formulas, whereas ACT does not offer a reference sheet.
Oh no.
So you need to go in prepared to remember those equations. So those are really the biggest differences.
Makes me glad I took the SAT last year. Oh man.
So how does this ACT impact future plans like colleges?
Sure. Well, the two tests are supposed to be very comparable statistically, so it really shouldn't impact you. They're measuring very similar things. They're a little bit different, but they measure similar things, and the scoring should be statistically equal. So there are some conversion charts. Like if you had this test on the pre-SAT, this is what your ACT response probably would be. They're not exact, but there are some ways for you to look between the two to determine what you think your ACT score might be, but really statistically they're very similar, and that's the reason that the state is able to look at different companies to offer a test that's very similar.
And I'm not too inclined to understand the ACT, so what's a good score range that students should shoot for to get on this test?
Mm-hmm. So a 22 is considered college and career ready, but anything between a 22 and a 36. And then of course if students score below a 22, it doesn't mean that you're not college ready, it just might mean that you have some areas where you want to improve, and you can still go to, lots of colleges don't use that as a cut score. So they'll still consider you as a student looking at your grades and the other activities that you've been in. So there are still lots of options, even if you don't score the way that you want to score. And then you do have the opportunity to take the test again.
I know you kind of did a little bit. Could you break down portions of the SAT, the main ideas that we're getting in this test?
For the ACT?
For the ACT, so sorry.
All right. So speaking specifically to the ACT with writing, there is a writing component just like with the SAT. There's an essay that you have to write at the end. So the English test is about 45 minutes long. It has 75 items, and it covers production of writing, knowledge of language, and conventions of standard English. So they will ask you to respond, and those are the things that they're looking at. In mathematics, there are 60 minutes given. There are 60 items, so your pace should be pretty quick at about a minute an item. They're looking at preparing for higher math, such as numbers and quantity, algebra, functions, geometry, statistics and probability, integrating essential skills, and modeling. And then for the reading test, it's 35 minutes. There are 40 items. So again, your pace has to be pretty quick because you have more items than minutes. And you're looking at key ideas and details, craft and structure, like how the author wrote passages, and integration of knowledge and ideas. There's a science portion to the ACT. So instead of taking the ISA and an SAT, you're taking a singular test. So the science portion is 35 minutes with 40 items. It's interpretation of data, scientific investigation, evaluation of models, inferences, and experimental results. And then the writing requires a keyboard, so you're typing it into your computer. You have 40 minutes allotted for the singular essay, and it is argument writing specific.
Do you have any tips for students to prepare for the test?
So there are some tips. I would say doing well in your typical classes is probably the best way to prepare. Your teachers know what's on the test. They've been working to integrate some of that into their classes. And so being a good student in general is going to help you. I think before the test, it's really helpful if you get a good night's sleep. Maybe cut back on the caffeinated drinks early in the day so that you can sleep during the night.
Oh, sorry.
Getting up and having a good breakfast so that you get your best foot forward, and being at school on time is really important so that you don't feel that stress of the morning when you get there. As far as preparing academically for the test, there's an ACT prep class that's offered by Grant that you could take. There are also practice tests that you can take online. And so that's a good way just to get familiar with the system and the kinds of questions that will be asked. There are lots of resources online, so even if you did a simple Google search, you're going to come up with ACT-style questions.
What day are the ACTs?
So for our school, we've chosen to do the test on April 8th. So April 8th is our testing day. School will begin at the regular time, so 7:40 in the morning. Everyone needs to be here and in their testing locations. And then we will end at different rates. So freshmen and sophomores will end around 11 o'clock, and we'll do a bus run so they can go home. And then our juniors should end around 12 o'clock, and then we'll do a second run of the buses so they can go home.
So with that, does that mean seniors don't have to be at school?
That is correct. Seniors do not have to come to school that day. We would encourage seniors to take that time to fill out some of those college applications, do some college visits, or if they're looking more at the trades, it's a great day to contact your local trades and find out how to become an apprentice.
What day is the ACT?
Do we just say that?
It's a Tuesday. I didn't say that. It is a Tuesday.
Yeah.
The last couple of years, we've done the test on a Wednesday. And this year is different. It's a Tuesday. It's not a late start. So it would be just like a regular school day.
All right, well, I think that's all the questions we have, and you've been a great guest for us on the podcast today. Any other questions, guys?
A letter with basic information will be going out to all families this week, and my contact information will be included, so if anyone has questions, they can contact the curriculum office.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the podcast. We are here with
Mrs. Lukemeyer. I'm a divisional administrator and also a grant alum, class of 2003.
Oh, wow. Welcome to the podcast.
Okay, so our first question is, what is the goal of the Test Your Best committee?
So our goal is to help students feel prepared and that they can put their best foot forward for this test. The test isn't the end-all be-all, but it is a great reflection of everything that they've worked so hard for in school. And whether the plans are college or career post-high school, we just want them to feel like they were adequately prepared and they were able to show their true skills on this test. And the Test Your Best committee likes to create some buzz and excitement around this and kind of make it like a fun week leading up to the test. Testing is not anyone's favorite, but we think by throwing in some test strategy activities and some dress-up days that it'll encourage students to feel more motivated.
So what are some common challenges during testing?
Common challenges during testing is probably stress of students, making sure the students feel prepared. Many students are very nervous. It's a timed test. There are subjects with which they might be unfamiliar. It might be things that they haven't read before. So that stress definitely comes into play. From a staff side, we want to make sure that students have everything that they need, a quiet testing environment, proctors who are prepared to administer the test, and then minimal distractions during the test so that they really can shine.
Do you have any tips to prepare for the test?
I definitely say the cliche, get a good night's rest, eat a good breakfast, but then also just live in the moment of each test. Don't be thinking about a section you took before and starting to doubt yourself of, oh man, did I get that right? Leave that behind, and then in that next section, really focus on that section and try and think about those strategies that your teachers have equipped you with. Context clues, time management, those different types of skills to really bring that in.
I feel like with the shift from the SAT to the ACT, it's causing a lot of anxiety in a lot of kids. So do you have any tips on how to lower stress?
Great question. So I'll be honest, when we shifted back to the ACT, I was excited because the ACT is what I took in high school. So I felt like, oh, this is something familiar to me. When we started the SAT, historically it had been something that students on the West Coast had taken. So I was less familiar with that. And I think our teachers, many, and if not most of our teachers took the ACT in their high school career. So there's this sense of familiarity, which helps them as well. And I would say that the two tests are pretty closely related, still types of same skills that you're going to employ. But I would say generally you should feel pretty confident about the switch to ACT.
Why should students care?
So we definitely want students to care. It's a great reflection of not only the students' skills and abilities, but us as a school and a community. It showcases, how the teachers have prepared you, how we've motivated you to want to do well. I think sometimes people think, oh, I don't need to care. I'm not going to college. I'm going on to the career path. Well, many of these skills translate to career paths as well. So, whichever route you're taking, this is a true reflection of us and Grant High School, and we take so much pride in the school that we want everyone to showcase their best work.
So regarding Spirit Week, what kind of things do you have planned?
So we're very excited, hot off the press, we have our posters made.
Oh, wow.
Yes, that teachers will start displaying. We're also gonna have some banners made. Miss Sullivan, Miss Richards, and I worked really hard in planning out Spirit Days that we thought the students would be really excited about, but also maybe some apparel that they might already have so they don't have to go Amazon style and buy everything for the whole week. So we have Mismatch Monday, which is right after spring break, so nothing better than being able to wake up and not care about if your outfit matches or not. On Tuesday, Team Spirit Tuesday, and rep your favorite team. It can be the Bulldogs, it can be a college team, professional team, it could even be like a little league team that you were in growing up, right?
It's fun.
Wednesday, Wotivational Wednesday. This is a bright day. Wear your neon, make them say whoa and shine bright in those hot colors. Throwback Thursday, going back in time, you can go decade style. You could go middle school, if you got any shirts from middle school, junior high, anything throwback of like the old you. Friday, of course, Fan Friday. We can't steer away from the red and white. We want to make Spike proud and show off that Bulldog spirit. And then Monday, the day right before the test, Make It Happen Monday. So that'll be showing off your future plans, whether it might be a career that you're interested in. A big staff favorite one is nurse scrubs. That's been a popular one in the past. Or you could wear your college gown. You could wear something career related. You could wear your favorite college or college that you plan on attending. So that's what we have in store for that week.
Sounds very fun. I think you guys should be very proud of your creativity that you've come up with these great Spirit Days. I'm really happy that we have people in this school who really care about our students and want to put their best foot forward for them. I really appreciate you guys.
Thank you. We appreciate you too. We hope so many people will get involved. So please help us out in that.
We'll have to spread the word.
Yes,
And
please.
hopefully with people watching this podcast, they'll get the word already. Well, that is all the questions we have, and we really thank you for coming on the podcast today. I know it's pretty early, no one likes waking up early, but we do what we got to do. So thank you very much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Of
Go
course.
Bulldogs.
Go Bulldogs! And that's a wrap on this episode of The Doghouse. A huge thank you to Dr. Noisey and Mrs. Lukemeyer for sharing their insights and tips on the ACT. Remember, Test Your Best Week is all about setting yourself up for success, whether that means getting a good night's sleep, staying focused, or simply showing up with confidence. And don't forget to have fun with the Spirit Days, because a little Bulldog pride can go a long way. Good luck to all of our Bulldogs taking the ACT. We know you'll crush it. Until next time, stay focused, stay confident, and as always, go Bulldogs!